Hey guys, it's Liv and welcome back to another episode of This Week in Motorsport. Before I begin the series, I want to thank you guys so much on all the support on the last two episodes. I love making this long form content for you guys, so I really appreciate any subscribes, shares and likes as it helps just to boost my content to other motorsport fans. But without further ado, let's begin. This weekend saw the return of the Japanese Grand Prix held at the Suzuka Inter-Racing course, and we also had the return of Max Verstappen and Red Bull's domination. Verstappen won the race and got the fastest lap, meaning that he took home 26 points, which allowed Red Bull to clinch the Constructors' title by over 300 points. The margins weren't even close. Though it was a great race for Red Bull as a whole and Max Verstappen, it wasn't so great for Sergio Perez, who DNF'd 2 times. This isn't very common to see in a Formula 1 race, but was definitely entertaining. His race was filled with chaos from the start to the end. In the space of around 15 laps, Sergio Perez had contact with Lewis Hamilton on the first lap. He managed to spin around Kevin Magnussen, pit to change 2 front wings, retire, then come back out on lap 40, just to retire again on lap 43. Red Bull did this to serve the penalty that he'd gained from spinning around Kevin Magnussen, as not to bring it over to the Qatar Grand Prix. Though the winner was pretty standard in Max Verstappen, the podium was quite interesting as we saw a McLaren double podium for the first time since 2021 Monza. Lando Norris was the one who took P2, whereas Oscar Piastri took P3, his first podium of his F1 career, and I'm imagining that he's going to have many more. He's the first rookie to get on the podium since Lance Stroll in Baku 2017, at the time racing with Williams. It was a great weekend all around for Oscar Piastri as he qualified P2, his best qualifying of his career. Also, during the race when he pitted under a virtual safety car which allowed him to lose less time to Max Verstappen. But in the end, it was Piastri's car that was slower. We expected Lando Norris to pass him easier, but Oscar was not having any of it, and they definitely battled a little bit, built tensions between the two, but a double McLaren podium, there were smiles all around. Speaking of teammates not letting each other by very easily, Mercedes were definitely going at it. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton actually ended up both going off the track after Lewis went a little bit wide and George Russell thought that he could pass him. Lewis ended up being under investigation for this move as he was the one that caused them to both go off track. We saw the return of Liam Lawson racing with AlphaTauri once again at the Japanese Grand Prix, and we saw the talk of contracts. In the end, AlphaTauri have signed Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo for the 2024 season, with many being a bit outraged that Liam Lawson didn't get a seat. Personally, I feel as though this was always going to happen. Liam Lawson's a bit less experienced than Yuki Tsunoda, and he's a lot less experienced than Daniel Ricciardo. Yuki's done a great job this season so far, so it wasn't warranted that he lose his seat, whereas Daniel Ricciardo can bring a lot of marketing factor to the AlphaTauri team that will be renaming for the 2024 season. AlphaTauri have confirmed Liam Lawson as part of their 2024 lineup though, but he'll be remaining as their reserve driver, meaning that the last seat on the 2024 Formula 1 grid is Logan Sargent's seat over at Williams. Logan had yet another difficult race weekend. During qualifying in Q1, he crashed the car pretty heavily, meaning that the Williams mechanics had to work on it before the race and ended up effectively building a third car, which the FIA penalised them for. A 10-second penalty had been given to Logan Sargent before the race had even begun, except it didn't make it any easier for himself after he made contact with Valtteri Bottas, pushing him into the gravel, gaining himself another 5-second penalty. There are lots of rumours about who will replace Logan Sargent. I can do a video on that if you guys want me to, with lots of names being thrown around, including Mick Schumacher, Felipe Drugovich, and even Liam Lawson. Though that seat is yet to be confirmed, and James Vowles has expressed interest in keeping Logan Sargent in that seat, with race performances like this, it's making it a bit more difficult for Williams to justify keeping him in that seat. But on to Formula E, because this week was very important in terms of silly season, with 4 different teams announcing their Season 10 lineup. Mahindra Racing has seen a lot of change, with Lucas Di Grassi confirming that he would be leaving the team. Instead, they've hired Season 7 champion Nyck De Vries, who's returning after his failed attempts at Formula 1, where he only raced in 10 races with AlphaTauri before being replaced by Daniel Ricciardo. Though he had such a difficult and short stint in Formula 1, Nyck De Vries is clearly very comfortable in Formula E. As I said, he's been the champion, but this will be his first time racing with Mahindra Racing, previously competing with the likes of Mercedes EQ. He'll be paired by Edoardo Mortara, who had a difficult Season 9, racing with the newly founded Maserati MSG Formula E team. In that season, he finished P14, but that doesn't really show how his Formula E career has gone so far. In Season 8, he finished P3, and in Season 7, he nearly clinched the title, finishing P2. So hopefully these 2 great drivers will be able to help Mahindra Racing move from the bottom of the constructor standings as they finished P10 last season. Looking at Edoardo Mortara's old team, Maserati MSG, they are gaining the talent of Jehan Darivala, who currently races in Formula 2 with MP Motorsport. Previously, he's been the Mahindra Racing reserve driver, with many thinking that he'd actually get a seat over with that Indian team, but instead he'll be racing with Maserati. Jehan has competed in the 2 rookie sessions of this season and finished in the top 6 during the Berlin rookie test. So clearly he's very talented, and I'm excited to see how he moves into the Formula E garage and how he performs. He'll be paired with Max Gunther, who's remaining with the Maserati team for a second season. Last season he had a pretty successful run, taking 1 win and 3 other podiums, so he's quite comfortable within the team and will hopefully help Jehan Daruvala gain comfort within the team as well. DS Penske have also confirmed their lineup, keeping the talent of Jean-Eric Vergne and Stoffel Vandoorne. Jean-Eric Vergne is a 2-time Formula E champion, whereas Stoffel Vandoorne is a 1-time Formula E champion, so they're keeping the talent of those champions within the team. Last season, Vergne finished P5, whereas Stoffel Vandoorne had a little bit of a more difficult season, finishing P11. So they'll both be hoping to keep that DS Penske up the grid and hopefully move towards a title fight. ABT Cupra were another team to confirm their lineup this week, with Lucas Di Grassi, who left Mahindra Racing, moving back to ABT Cupra, the team that he won a Season 3 championship with, at the time known as Audi Sport ABT. Lucas is one of the most successful Formula E drivers of all time, finishing on the podium in every season, taking 40 trophies and 13 victories. So ABT Cupra, who finished at the bottom of the grid last season, will be hoping to use his talent to hopefully move towards the top of the grid. Lucas will be paired by Nico Müller, with the German remaining with ABT Cupra, despite finishing P19 last season in the championship. As I said, it's been quite difficult for the pairing last season, but hopefully Nico Müller will be able to be more comfortable with ABT Cupra and move their car up the grid. Moving on to the feeder series, we had the return of Italian Formula 4 at Mugello this race weekend. The Mugello track is located in Tuscany, it's 5.245 kilometers long and has 15 turns and is a very exciting track for Italian Formula 4 to race on. Arvid Lindblad with Prema, who lead the championship at the moment, with his teammate Ugo Kachukwu sitting in P2. Only 3 points behind that is US Racing's Kasper Stuka. And round 6 will be particularly interesting as Alex Powell will be making his single-seater debut. He currently karts with Prema in Kart Republic and will be racing with Prema at this race weekend. And over in F1 Academy, all of the racers have flown out to COTA for their testing. They'll be racing at COTA in just under a month as a support series for Formula 1, so they'll be preparing for that race weekend, which will hopefully be broadcasted. Marta Garcia still leads the championship from Lena Bula, who leads from Hamd Al-Khabazi. Seeing as it's been a long break since their last round, we'll have to see who's prepared themselves best to top the testing session. To miscellaneous news, as I always say, this is my favourite section, we have a lot of World Endurance Championship news. Though I talked about Mick possibly being rumoured to replace Logan Sargent at Williams, he has been heavily linked with the Alpine seat over at WEC, in an interview even saying it hasn't been announced yet, but basically confirmed that that is where he's headed for the 2024 season. Additionally, Sebastian Vettel could be making his return to racing in WEC with Jota, I hope I'm saying that right. He would make up part of an all-star lineup with Robert Kubica and Jenson Button. I would love to see that happen because I'm so excited to see Vettel go back to racing, but also because that lineup would be absolutely spectacular. This is Edit 11. I wanted to talk a bit about Des Hawkins, who tested the AM21 at the Hungaroring this week. She did 26 laps and is the first woman to test a Formula 1 car since 2018 with Tatiana Calderon and Salva. That's all the news I've got for you this week. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Love you all for all the support, and bye.